March is all about celebrating women. We have the History of Women Month. And what better to bring on Elaine Kelton and her book, Woman Who Walked This Bridge, which is very famous here in the Valley. She's got so many stories, and she's joining Tricia Swenson to share a little more.
All right, yes, Meredith, we've got it. The women of Vail, those who walked this bridge, and we're talking. The era was 1962 to 1970. And joining us now, the co-author Elaine Kelton. Carolyn Pope is the other one, but she's not going to be in town until the event at the Colorado Snow Sports event on Saturday. But you two wrote this book, and it came out in 2012. That was Vail's 50th anniversary. I can't believe we're now into the 60th.
We are. And the book was in response to the 4 or 5 other books that have been written by Dick Hauserman, by Jim Simonton, and by Peter Seibert, each of which allowed the women about 7 or 8 pages. We were fortunate enough when we all came together that literally the glass ceiling did not exist here for women. We were able to act on what was needed the same way everyone else did. Rini Gorsuch, Shaika Granson, the women that own shops up and down the brick each saw a need in the women that worked for the hospital to get way prior hospital. But at any rate, what we did was interview 150 women. It's a lot of estrogen, and the stories are fabulous. Victor Frankl, who was a probably world-known philosopher and psychologist, spoke about storytelling. Each of us has memories. Each of us shares our experiences. But each of us is not citing history. We are our stories. And these are the stories of the women in the first 7 years.
Yeah, and you know what? And I love how the forward is by Warren Miller. So you think it'd be written by a woman, but it's Warren. And, he really says in here, he's like, it really was the women who kind of got this place going and stuff. And I love how you say that it wasn't a glass ceiling. It was just like whatever needed to be done. And you guys knew, okay, we need to do something with the school, so we need to do something with the hospital. And everyone pitched in. I love that pioneering spirit. And it wasn't luxurious back in the day. You hear the stories about bringing water from the creek and everything.
Luxury was not the first thing you thought of in Vail in 1963 as we opened, trucking snow to the base of the mountain to bring people off of it way prior to what we know of snowmaking and grooming. Vail had dirt streets. There was no I-70. Route 6 was our access up over Loveland Pass to get to Denver.
You had one doctor, and a lot of times you'd be sent to Denver.
No doctor.
Oh, I thought Steinberg. When did he get here?
Dr. Steinberg came in 2 years later.
Oh, so if you were having a baby, you were driving to Denver, or maybe having it here.
Springs, or you had it here.
Well, no, you have so many accounts. You mentioned 150 different women were interviewed for this, and such great stories. And you're going to have some of them with you at the Colorado Snow Sports Museum on Saturday for the Through the Lens event. Tell us about this.
We will have Annetta Dixon, Shirley Ward, Jebby Brown, who taught skiing to darn near every kid in town, and swimming in the summer. It's an event in partial celebration of Vail's 60th, of Vail coming of age. It is also a celebration who made Vail the Vail you see. We will be at the ski museum. You'll need tickets to get in, and it will be 6 p.m. to about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
We hope you all will come and join.
Well, and you know what? And just the Q&A, I think, is going to be fun too.
Absolutely.
And just to see, because, it was an interesting time as well. 1962, you think about some of the world events that were happening, some of the performers, the Beatles and some of those bands, and you just think about the times and what were going on. And so So it's just a very interesting time frame and different things that led people here and different things that kept people here. Are you glad you stayed?
I think every one of us was only smart enough to know that this was a great place to be. We have the world's greatest mountain and a place to bring children up now, to grow families, to expand. We have some of the world today, some of the world's greatest orthopedic surgical work being done. But originally it was, we never thought of ourselves as pioneers. Not one of us thought we would grow to be a sprawling valley that covers from Vail Pass today to Eagle, Gypsum, and an airport that's bringing flights in.
Oh yeah, and just the world. Everyone knows you say Vail, and they're like, oh yeah, like they know where that is. It has international status. Beaver Creek, especially with the ski racing, international status. So yeah, who knew 60 years ago that we'd be doing this today?
None of us.
All right. Well, we're so happy to have you here. Any favorite story in here that you'd like to share?
Yes, I think a way of sharing how this is their experiences and not their actual history was that there are 5 stories, and this is not a woman of Vail, but there are 5 stories about Paul Testreed riding his horse into the I-480 Park, at which point you realize just how exactly simple Vail was.
Oh yeah.
Daphne Slevin, she and her husband had 2 or 3 restaurants here. About the time of marijuana coming in, her staff would generally engage in a little usage after hours. And they always would leave Daphne and Jim a little bit left over. And I said, what did you do with this, Daph? And she said, oh, in an English accent that Maggie Thatcher would allow anything said in Parliament. She said we filed it under future travel.
Oh my gosh, yeah, all the good stories. And you can find this book. It is for sale at the Colorado Snow Sports Museum. You can probably get an autographed copy. I have an autograph from you and Carolyn way back in 2012 when we got this. So I love having the autograph right here. So yeah, come out to this event on Saturday. Should be a wonderful way to just learn more about the history and gain more of an affinity for Vail. Elaine, thanks so much. It's always good to hear from you.
Fabulous.
Okay, all right, Meredith, any questions? I mean, these are pretty interesting stories.
Oh my gosh, I've been wanting to get one of these books for so long. Elaine, what is one of your favorite stories that maybe you didn't expect, but you just haven't forgotten in the book?
Oh, you didn't expect. You haven't forgotten.
Favorite stories didn't expect, not forgotten. I think that if you truly want to see just how we've been able to do Vail, someone was asked about education, and at that point we were in trailers, and as it's gone on, we now have choices of charter schools, private schools, public schools, and a public-private participation in everything that we're doing. I think that the surprise is how complete and how professional Vail has become.
Yes. Yeah.
So that those stories will tell out with all 150 women's stories in the book. I think you'll love it. Take care.
All right, yeah, Meredith, you got to get yourself this book and hey, attend the event on Saturday if you want. Yes, some of my favorite stories. I love how Blanche Hauserman. She was on the cover of Life magazine a couple of times, and she knew Pete Seibert from back east. And they're like, "You should come out here. Can you open a store?" People were just trying to get all of their friends, family, anyone to come out. And I love the stories of people whose car broke down, and by the end of before their car was even fixed, they'd gotten a job, they found a place to live, and they weren't going out to Aspen or California.
So many great stories. We all need that book on our coffee tables. And it was so great to have you on the show, Elaine, especially for the month of March, which is celebrating women's history. So thank you for coming on. We're going to take a quick break, but